Okay, guys, so today in our People Helping People, we'll be focusing on human trafficking. I know for the month of February, we started off on the topic of drug abuse, etc. We spoke to Alison Pouchette of Mothers Against Drug Abuse, and we continued with Francis John, who spoke about from the street to the pulpit. And of course, last week we had a wonderful interview with Nicholas Constantine, who told us about his hope story, coming out of drug and just being so close to God and connected with Him. Today we have with us Mr. Clarence Greene, and the topic of human trafficking just keeps popping up. It's popping up and it's becoming very popular. Not that we want it to become popular, but it's there and it's real. So we're going to talk about it because you often hear about drug trafficking. We hear about all kind of trafficking, but human trafficking in Trinidad and Tobago is it here? So Mr. Clarence Greene will definitely answer that question for us this morning. Good morning, Mr. Greene.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me here.
Lovely. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Mr. Greene.
Clarence Greene was an entrepreneur somewhere in the back before 2000, the year 2000. Prior to that, I was into designing and making clothes and taking care of a family and all that. And somehow I was not getting the satisfaction that I wanted out of that because that was just monetary. And so I started something in 1999 prior to going to the States that dealt with abuse against men, that drew a lot of attention from the media to the University of the West Indies. And that's a whole different topic by itself. I went to the United States to further that, to do more research on that. And while in Atlanta, I formed a 501c3 organization, a nonprofit organization by the name of Foundation for Men Awareness. And it's through that organization we basically stumbled on this whole human trafficking thing. We wanted to get involved in the city concerning handling issues with men. And so we went to a lot of meetings, some of them were governmental meetings and stuff like that, to get our hands wet on what was going on within the city. And we went to this particular meeting, and the meeting was about human trafficking. And found out a whole lot about human trafficking. We were more interested in what happens to the males during human trafficking. But the education was just not on the males. The education was on the whole idea of human trafficking and what it entails and details. And so it became very interesting to us. We pursued it, and we started working with organizations, including the mayor of Atlanta at the time, who was Mayor Shirley Franklin. She made it a personal effort to attack human trafficking in Atlanta head on. Because with her research and all the investigation that was going on in Atlanta, she found out that Atlanta was one of the main cities in America that was pushing human trafficking a lot. And we found out that Atlanta was really the main city at the time. It was like the hub of the whole thing. And reason being because Atlanta, where Atlanta is situated, it's central to the way the airport and where it was built, the location of Atlanta itself. And because Delta, which is the home of Delta Airlines. Yeah. Delta flies to every part of the world from Atlanta. So it's a great transit place to move people and and so a lot of the traffickers use there as an easy way to get access to any part of the world. And so she made an effort, and we were one of the groups that worked along with the mayor's office in trying to come up with solutions to combat this crazy, heinous phenomena that was sweeping across the country. We found out also through conversation with some of the major players that, information about crimes and stuff that was passing through the city, that at one time Atlanta, we had losing about 250 people, women and children per month. And that was scary to find that out. Um, where they were going to, we were not sure. How to find these children and these women, we were not sure. And so they were putting mechanisms in place to deal with it. Who were the people involved? Don't know, because we call them John Doe or Johns. They don't have a face, but they exist, and they have workers. And we found out that, a lot of the place where they were scouting were in the transit stations and in the malls, and a place called Underground in Atlanta. And so that there we would scout out people. Then we found out more. We found out more that it was not just men involved. Men were always looked at as the perpetrator of the crime. And to soften it up and to make it a little more thing, women started to become involved. So because women were more trusting to most people, to a young woman or to a young boy, it's easy to go towards a woman who's asking you questions and stuff like that. And so women became involved, and that even made it even more difficult because it's a woman. How do they dress? What do they look like? All these things was our concerns.
That's interesting. So let's get to understand this human trafficking, because one would think it or link it to drug. You might hear about someone being, ingesting something, and I want us to understand what it is and why we're even having this conversation here in Tobago.
Human trafficking is as real as the breath you breathe. Whether you want to believe it or not, I believe from everything that I'm seeing and listening to on the news and all that it's here. It's here in our beautiful island of Tobago and Trinidad, and people better get accustomed to it because it's here. Human trafficking is what we call modern day slavery. It's where a young person or an individual, whether it's a woman, child, man, boy, girl, is abducted against their will and forced into sexual exploitation. There are several levels of human trafficking. Sexual exploitation is just one of them. You have forced labor, where you find them in the restaurants and you find them in the brothels and you find them in places of work, but it's forced labor. Then you have child labor. Child labor is a whole different thing. You find that a lot in India and stuff like that. A lot of the clothes that some people might be wearing was manufactured in India and these different places, Indonesia and all these places, with children being forced into to work underage, and they're forced to work and produce clothes and stuff like that against their will when they should be in school. Studying and stuff like that, they are forced, and they're forced against their will. And if they don't obey, there are consequences for disobeying, torture, and all these different things. I mean, you can imagine the worst type of thing. It's a part of human trafficking. Young ladies and young men who got tired of home and don't want the rules of the house anymore. Parents may not be able to afford buying the latest type of clothing and styles and the brand names and stuff like that. They may get upset with the rules of the game and decide, you know what, I'm getting out of here and running away from home. They may be promised or lured into it by somebody who's in the industry and tell them there's a better life. Sadly, to realize that the better life is not a better life, it's a worse life. And so that they get into it and they're surprised now because it's not a better life. I'm forced to have sex with strange men, and it doesn't matter if a woman, whether I'm a virgin or whatever socioeconomic status I came from. It has nothing to do with that. It doesn't matter how well educated you are. It has nothing to do with your color. It has nothing to do with that. You're just a commodity, and you're here to work. Whether you like it or not, you're here to work, and we're going to make you work. And if you don't want to do what we say, we're going to force you until you submit to what we want. And there's a price to pay for the disobedience.
It's really, I'm glad you said that, Mr. Greene, because persons often think or label people who suffer, I don't want to use the word suffer, but poverty-stricken areas, persons who come out of those areas are prone to it because they're vulnerable. They want nicer clothes, they want food, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you come from.
I'm really glad that you said that. So, what about even? I don't want to bring this up the org because I know the organ. What is it?
Well, that's I call that like the new kid on the block, you know. And whether you want to believe it or not, that is part of the whole phenomenon. Whether it's on Trinidad or not, I still have to have proof on that of whether or not, you know, from all the things that we've been hearing, you know, there's a lot of wind in the air about, you know, this whole idea about organs are being removed from young ladies who have been, you know, they found dead. I have no proof of that. What I do know, it is part of the whole thing. And I was looking at a documentary recently, somewhere in it's either Indonesia, one of those Eastern Bloc countries, India. This farmer was he had a farm and it was doing well, and things became difficult, and the farm started to go down, and so that the finances started to be affected. And they had this group of people from wherever they were from. They were going around looking for people in that type of a condition to make the suggestion of, okay, we would take an organ from you and give you a price. So they were really looking at an opportunity to pounce on people who were in a social economic bad position. And so they made this approach to this man who, like I said, he had a farm and things were getting tough. And he did make the deal. He did make the deal to sell his kidney, one of his kidneys, to them, got the money so that his family could be financially off. So I know for a fact that it exists. Whether it exists in Trinidad and Tobago is yet to be proven from me. Maybe the authorities know. One of the things I know about this whole idea of human trafficking is that I don't think a government is going to come out and tell you how bad it is. And I'll tell you why I said that. The person in Atlanta that I spoke to who that type of information crosses her desk every day, she told me that the information that she receives every night is about what happens and how much people are actually going missing. And she said she couldn't tell the public that. I said, why can't you tell the public? I mean, they should know. She said, I'll send the public into panic mode. I can't afford to do that. To send the whole of Atlanta, which is probably more than 4 or 5 million people, into panic mode. So what they did is suppress that type of information, try to do the best investigating what was going on, and give some news to the media that the public could handle. My suspicion, I'm just saying this, I don't know. My suspicion is that happens in mostly every city. You know, so I'm saying that maybe, those in authority knows what's going on. I suspect they knows that human trafficking is going on. I have a flyer from National Security that warns people about human security right now in my bag. The fact that they're sending out this information to preventative measures, they are doing preventative measures to the public. So there is a fact that there's a 90% chance that they know that it's going on the city of Trinidad and Tobago, and they're beginning to now educate people in a subtle way on how to avoid it.
Well, and it's good that we even have this platform here, and you can be here with us today to even talk about it and how can we protect ourselves. You know, there's so many different things or characteristics can make us victims. You know, probably how we dress. Sometimes we become prone to this activity. You know, we make ourselves victims. You know, being vulnerable. What are some of the things?
Well, first to begin, human trafficking is bigger than anybody can think. Human trafficking I put it like human trafficking is bigger than most governments. I believe this thing, it's a big business. It's a in 2007, human trafficking worldwide made over $32 billion. That is bigger than Nike, that's bigger than Google and Starbucks combined. That's the type of money you're talking about. And it's a worldwide thing. Every 40 seconds, it is said that every 40 seconds, somebody in some part of the world is abducted. So even the conversations that we're having right now, for the time that we're sitting here, people are being abducted as we speak. one out of every 236 persons, one is a potential victim. How can we stop this? How can we minimize us being a victim? I tell people straight up, change your lifestyle. We can no longer sit here and say, it's a beautiful country, Tobago. I wish I could live in Tobago. Tobago is a beautiful place. The geographic things in Tobago that attract people is great. Same thing for Trinidad and Tobago. But the whole idea that our island is still a paradise in the way people say it, it's not truth anymore. This island has changed. Trinidad has changed. We hope it didn't, but the reality is this thing is here. And we have to change our lifestyle in the sense that we have to do things different. Because if the country has changed and it's become dangerous to move about, and everybody's walking around with fear, because the fact is, it could happen to anyone. Your dress code needs to change. The way you operate in your home and your family needs to change. Where I live in Atlanta at the time, when I get home, it's on lockdown. It's not because I think that anybody's going to mug me, because I felt safer there than here. It's the fact it's a lifestyle I have. When I get home and I open my garage and I close it down, it's closed down. When I get inside and I punch those keys in for the security system, and and the door opens and I go inside, I punch it back and lock the house down. If somebody's not expected to come at my house, then you could ring my bell all you want. I'm not expecting anybody, so I'm not coming to the door. If I go to the door at all, I'm going to look through a peephole before I open the door. If you're going to come to my house, you need to call me before so I can know that you're coming and the time that you're coming, because it minimizes the risk of a stranger coming to me. If I'm going to go out and I'm married, I'm going to tell my wife where I'm going. If my child is going to school, the child needs to be clear that when you get to school, you need to call me and you need to get home by a certain time. And when you get home at a certain time, even though I'm in work, you're going to call mommy or daddy and let them know I'm home. You see, the whole protocol of family needs to change. The whole protocol of the society needs to change. We need to look out for each other. There's a topic I talk about called look beneath the surface. Who's living next door to you don't know. Not because I'm dressed up and educated makes me a good guy anymore. I might be dressed up and a good guy and have all the occasion and dress in a suit, but might be a perpetrator, I might be a pedophile, I might be a thief, I might be somebody into drugs, because you see, crime has changed. Crime is no longer ugly in the sight of most of us. Crime is ugly, or it's just ugly, but it may be dressed up. And so when you look at people now, not to get suspicious and to walk around intimidated, you look at people and you take a second look. Who takes a child to school? Which PH car you take your child to? You don't just put your child in a car. No, you know who's the driver. And you make sure that person, things are changing even within the church, even in the church in America. What is going on even in the church in America? If you want to work with young people, you have to run a background check on you, a criminal background check. Why? Because I don't know who you are.
And I like how you say that, dressed up crime. It's not this, it doesn't have the same look. I remember an issue with a bandana, coming up recently as a topic in Trinidad and Tobago with, bandana wearing and etc. But crime is now dressed up. Suits, tie.
It's educated, it has position.
Absolutely, absolutely. And these things are reality. It's no longer a TV show. You don't have to, you hire someone to take your son or daughter to school, and that's Frederick cousin, but you don't know Frederick cousin. You know Frederick.
You know Frederick, but you really don't know Frederick.
Exactly. You don't know his cousin. That's interesting. What are some of the other things? I know I heard some of your conversations before last week, and I heard you talk about even what we wear out. Like, for instance, you have on a plaid shirt, a silver watch, a khaki pants, I believe, etc. The details. Do we know you have brown eyes? Do you have black eyes? Bald head? Some specifics.
Details are important. Parents say they love the kids. I've asked many parents through conversations, through surveys, what is the color of your child's eyes? Nobody knows. Wow. What's their blood type? Nobody knows. Wow. What's the last kind of clothes they had on when they went to the mall? Nobody knows. So What do you know about this child? What are some of the special identification marks on your child, should in case something happened that you could identify the body? A mole, a mark that they got, through some accident, something. What is it about your child that you know? Does the father know? Does the mother know? Does the class teacher know? Does the grandparents know? Nobody knows. So if something happens to that child and you're going to report that child is missing, what are you going to tell those in authority? What are you going to tell the police? My child is missing. Okay, miss, tell me something about your child. You have absolutely nothing. You don't even have a picture. The thing about it is not just to know the information, to write the information down and have it in a safe place. Because during the time of calamity and those type of things, that type of information fly out your brains. You understand? So people have to write that down. What is happening in the United States now, even they've gone one step further. What they're doing is putting tracking systems on children now, through their phones and through tracking systems. And that's something we're trying to implement in our thing. Because we want to give people real tools to attack the problem. It's not that you're walking around paranoid, but you have to do, at least if we have a tracking system on you, in your school bag, your lunch kit, wherever we place it, and you're moving around, I can know if you're in school. I can know if you're in school because I can see it on the system. I can see, well, look, she's gotten to school. I can say, okay, she's gotten home. And things like these. Or something, if you happen to be abducted, God forbid, I can at least see the last position that the tracking system picked you up at. And we have a roadmap of, okay, this is the last place she was. We can then, start planning how we're going to attack it from there. But in Trinidad, we do have all these systems. There's a system in the States they call, I forget the name of it. I was just talking about it inside, where if a child goes missing, it goes national all right away through a system they have in the States. And I wish I could remember the name of it right now. But what happens is that the authorities send out this information. All the news media get it one time. All the police and all those in authority get it at the same time. And individuals can download that app on their phone. So it's on the radio and everywhere. This is the description of the car. This is the description of the child. This is the clothes the child had on, blah, blah, blah. The last was seen with their father. Because sometimes fathers are not able to see the child through a court order, and vice versa. They're going to take the child and grab them away from the mother. And now everybody is looking for you, not just the police. Everybody's looking for you. And we need to implement all these things in our homes.
Excellent.
So we really need, the police, I guess they're doing a whole lot of work. People have a lot of suspicions about the police. I've heard a lot of things since I came home. The police has a lot of work to do. But I also know that a lot of systems in this country needs to be updated, and I'm sure eventually they'll get to that.
Indeed. And even as you mentioned that system, I know we have something very similar here in Trinidad and Tobago, or more so Tobago, but I know persons can access it. It's called Virtual Vision. It's an app by the Tobago Emergency Management Agency. Initially, it was created for all the first responders, etc., all these people. But now you can access it and be aware of what's happening. So I'm going to say that again, Tobago Emergency Management Agency, you're definitely getting a plug on the whole program this morning. Not because, it's a plug, but because it's important, know what's happening in your surroundings. So it's a Virtual Vision app, and you can get that via Google Play on the Android. Yes? So if persons want to make contact with you, Mr. Greene, tell us about your organization. I know we were supposed to talk about that first, but we got so deep into the conversation. It's so important to spread this kind of information. And tell us about your organization, and if persons want to make contact with you, just to be educated and stuff like that. Tell us about that.
Well, if you want to get in touch with me, I can give you my phone number, I can give you my website and that kind of thing. Because my thing is with the little training that I've gotten, and I continue to read and educate myself on the whole idea of this whole phenomenon of human trafficking. My thing is that I want to help. Some of the things I do, I don't even get paid for it. But I want to help. And I want to bring people aware and up to speed with what's going on, for them to realize that they need to make changes in their lives. So the website is called Christian Affiliate Network.org. And my telephone number is 793-7642. If you go to the website, you're going to see areas of the website where you can actually make contact with me if you want to have a seminar done, and I can come to you. You know, even in businesses, people got to change. The church has to change the way they operate. I mean, listen, there's a lot of information. The fact that somebody dressed up as going to spread the gospel in Trinidad in a few weeks change the whole dynamics of how people are going to approach people's homes now, because nobody's going to trust you with a Bible and dressed up. So all these things, whether a church is supposed to have cameras in them, are we supposed to take all people's information when they walk in a church now, because people are shooting up churches in the United States. I hope it doesn't come here, but it's copycats all over the world, right? So what we try to do is just bring awareness. I'm here. If anybody wants me, whether it's in Trinidad and Tobago or wherever, call me, let us talk, let's set it up, let me know what you want, and we will try to fit you into our schedule and come and do an awareness program with you, your church, or your organization.
Give us the name of the organization again and your contact number.
Christian Affiliate Network, and the contact number is 793-7642.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Greene. Is there any closing remarks you have first?
Look, I know they take a lot of things out of our system. We need to pray a lot. We need to pray. People really need to pray, because whether they want to believe it or not, you know, this is real evil. And the only way I know as a man of God is to fight evil with a lot of prayer. The police need help. You know, it's just a matter of the government instituting laws. It's not about that. People need to change. You have to search yourself and see, what can I contribute? How can I help? Change your lifestyle. Change the way you operate. Change everything about your life. Once it can help enhance your life, once it can have prolong your life and the family life to anything that's safer, that's what we have to do. Stop looking for somebody to do everything for you. You decide, as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, I am going to make my contribution by the way I change my life, and spread the word out. Look out for your neighbors, you know, get community groups, discuss this subject, discuss how we can. These are the things that we need to do as a people, as a community.
And that's on a fantastic note we wrap up our People Helping People segment. Wonderful information. Give us the name of the organization one last time.
Christian Affiliate Network, and the telephone number is 793-7642. My name is Clarence Greene, and I'm here to help anybody who wants to help.
There we go. I'm selling big because we need the help. You know, we have to start somewhere, with ourselves, with our families, even with our enemies. You have to keep them safe too, because hey, you know, we're all still human beings, and God created us for a purpose, and we must fulfill that purpose safely. But once we could do something better about it, we have to do it together, and this is an opportunity for us to do it together. All right, so when we come back, we have some more of holding on to positive expectation.